people of California, having voted on this twice, the consent of the governed has been lost. So this is a travesty of justice occurring in our state. And beware, it can come to your state as well very soon.
The Supreme Court has offered two very contradictory rulings. On one hand, they claim to make a decision so the states have a right to decide the definition of marriage. In their second decision, they said the states' voters do not have the right to decide.
So we're literally seeing the predominant view on marriage of thousands of years being compared to being a supporter of the Ku Klux Klan in the 1950s.
It is absolutely laughable that the Supreme Court, some members of the Supreme Court, said that those of us who defend marriage are acting in malice, trying to injure so-called same-sex couples.
That is the Supreme Court majority opinion saying that the whole reason for the defense of marriage was to impose inequality. Well, if these people believe that, they are the most ignorant people walking around in Washington, and that's saying something.
Essentially, Justice Kennedy called Bill Clinton a bigot. He called Barack Obama a bigot. Barack Obama changed his position less than 2 years ago. They called 43 million Americans bigots who voted on marriage amendments across the United States. Specifically, they called 7 million Californians bigots. They called every church, every world religion, a bigot. And that's the kind of things I hope Americans recognize, that this is a runaway court.
As the majority opinion said, they have a new perspective that's more brilliant than anything nature could ever come up with, because, you know, they're the new Holy Quintet. We know more than the Holy Trinity, we know more than nature itself, and we're redesigning things.
The silver lining, I would say, that came out of the ruling, though, was they did go on for 7 pages saying that this has been a state issue, and they didn't overturn the right of states to determine what marriage is.
I tell you, we better make every effort to pay attention to who we vote for president, because these Supreme Court justices are now feeling unbridled power, and if indeed they are the ones that say what the Constitution says and what the law is, and sometimes we've just sort of accepted that as a societal given, and it's fundamentally untrue. But if we conclude that as a society, it will become virtually true, so that that's how we act and move forward as a society. And if that happens, then it's time to board up this Capitol and send the people's representatives home and tell the people to keep quiet while the Supreme Court does what they will, and the rest of us will simply have to comply.
And when we have institutions like our own courts make the decisions that they do, it does make partnerships with darkness.
The mocking spirit that was there that day. There was an individual that was a drag queen dressed in a rainbow tutu and sort of a Halloween demon headband. The homosexual community has kept those types of people under wraps because they wanted to appear buttoned down and typical. And that person stood in front of the Capitol and across the street from the Supreme Court to this most demonic music, dancing. And it has been a long time since I've seen a mocking spirit like that.
There is no power in human existence beyond perseverance that's greater than perseverance. And you know, when the Roe versus Wade decision came down, one of the things that's interesting about that is you can go look at all the newspaper articles that were out and the things that people on the other side were saying, on the pro-abortion side were saying, well, at least this puts the abortion issue to rest once and for all. The Supreme Court has established this right. So yeah, these kind of kooky religious fanatics out here that are opposing abortion legalization, they'll go away. They'll raise a dust up for a little bit, but they'll go away. Well, 40 years later, we're still here. And not only are we here, but we're winning, and we're winning to the point that even our enemies now are coming out and saying, we're losing to these people. They're beating us. And so that's the power of persistence.
As we're told in Hebrews 12, verse 1, we must run with perseverance the race that has been marked out for us. We can't talk about what, Aunt so-and-so did, or Grandma so-and-so, or my mom or my dad. We can't talk about what our children might do. this is our race. It's time for us to take a stand.